morning. Welcome to worship at Church of the Cross, and also happy Mother's Day to everyone. We all come from mothers, and we all have had mothers influence us in many ways. And I'm thankful for the many people in my life who have been mothers to me and have guided me along the way. And I think most of us have had someone who has been a mother or acted as a mother to us to guide us along the way. So we honor and we remember all of those who have been mothers to us, and also we kind of stretch that memory out, because I think there are many in the church, and there are others in our lives who show us the importance of family, community, and those things that bind us together and help get us through life. And so I'm recognize all of that as we come together and we remember today is Mother's Day. I want to thank everyone who contributed to the online, what memories of who our mothers were or someone who has been important in our lives, and those are listed on the website, and I hope you'll take the opportunity today on Mother's Day to read those through and to see how many folks have such fond memories of people who have been mothers. I want to give you several thoughts about some things to be remembering as you go through this week. First of all, your church is still open. Lights are still on, and phones are being answered, and messages of hope are being sent out, keeping us connected, and we're very blessed through all of that. So I say that just as a reminder to send your offerings and to help your church out. Also in the reporter, there were several things that were noted. One being that our Good Samaritan Fund is being desperately low. And so if you are able in some way to help our neighbors around the church, we give help for housing, utilities, prescription drugs, and we certainly know that this is a very difficult time for many people. Another awareness to have is that there are 2 district needs that are being presented, and they also are listed in your e-reporter this past week. One of those being Wesley Community Center. There's a woman and infant program that is being, that helps new moms get started well, and you can give to that through a link that is listed in the article that is in our e-reporter. I started thinking about, if we're not going out and we're not getting Mother's Day gifts, what better way than to honor our mother through the giving of a gift to another mom who is needing some help. And it's a wonderful way to help this program at Wesley Community Center. And this has been a United Methodist Women and church-supported mission for many, many years. Also within that is St. Paul's, and they are in need of food. I mention this because we know the times are difficult, and but we are very generous people, and I hope that you'll continue to do that as we go through these next few weeks. Thank you for tuning in today and for being a part of this online worship. And I thank Dave now for the opening hymn and also the postlude at the end of our service. chosen for this morning is one of my favorite passages. It's one I've used in the church as an affirmation of faith, and it is also one that I go to when I need reassurance, a reminder that God is right here with me in the middle of all of this messiness of life. And it's a marvelous reminder to us that who Jesus is, and particularly the verse 17 just catches me all the time. It says, in Jesus all things hold together. So I share with you from Colossians 1 verses 15 to 20. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. For in him all things in heaven and on earth were created, things visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or powers, all things have been created through him and for him. He himself is before all things, and in him all things hold together. He is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, so that he might come to have first place in everything. For in him all the fullness of God was pleased to dwell, and through him God was pleased to reconcile himself to all things, whether on earth or in heaven, by making peace through the blood of his cross. One of the things I've been doing in this time of social isolation has been gardening. And as many gardeners know, there's a lot of upfront preparing of a garden for the summer. It always includes weeding and planting and weeding and mulching and weeding and soil preparation, and then there's always more weeding, and the weeding continues through the whole season. And what I have found, and I've known for years as I garden, is that the roots are always so important, and they're significant. Some weeds are very large, but their root system is very shallow, so they're easy to get out. Other weeds, like dandelions, I can never get the full root. As hard as I try and as much as I dig, I have gotten a root this year on a dandelion that was 12 inches long and still did not get the whole root. It was so deep, and I know it's going to come back. This year, really sadly, I had 2 evergreens that died. I'm not sure why. Last summer they looked beautiful. I had this 7-foot healthy, gorgeous evergreen tree, you know, the type that kind of bends over and they kind of spread out, this kind of graceful flow of that type of a tree kind of cascades down. And by February it was completely dead, and I have no idea why. I asked our son John Elliott to come over and to help John to get the tree out, thinking it would be difficult because it was a tall tree, and I thought the roots would be really deep. And to all of our surprise, it took under 5 minutes. It's simply 1 or 2 digs around the base of it and was pulled out very quickly because the roots were nearly gone. It seems like everything tends to go back to the roots, whether it's in creation, that everything grows and it gives us beauty and it feeds us, and it all needs healthy roots to grow. And that's true also of our spiritual journey. We all need the healthy roots to grow and to thrive and to live and to survive in this world. Now, Jesus knew this, of course, when he taught many of his parables. He used the metaphor of the seed and the plant and growth. In the scriptures, we have many parables that speak to that. Great teachers and mystics of our faith often use that example of growth and creation and the need to be deeply rooted, grounded, connected to God and to one another. And that is the way we live healthy and fruitful lives. When we are connected, when we're rooted in God and with others, that's when all things hold together. No matter what's happening in our world around us, we are held together and rooted deep. So I thought this morning I'd like to talk with you about what things hold us together. What roots you, nourishes your soul? What anchors you when everything around you seems fearful, shifting, moving towards something we don't understand? What holds us together? Well, one of the things, the ideas that came to me this week through my reading and through my thinking and through my gardening is that we are standing on holy ground. That no matter where we walk, what location we live in, what we do, what garden we work with or not, no matter when we step right out of our home, no matter where we stand, even in our home, God has already walked upon this earth. God has walked upon it and blessed it. And we stand on this ground that is holy and blessed. I'm not sure why I've never seen this so clearly as I did this week, but in my small corner of the world and yours, God's Spirit has hovered and is hovering and sweeping across our world to grace us, to bless us, no matter what is happening in the world. So when we believe that we walk on holy ground, no matter where we go, it's an overwhelming idea, but it's also a reassuring idea that no matter where we are, we then are never alone. God has gone before us. God walks with us. God is beneath us, holding us all together. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a pastor. He was a theologian in Nazi Germany. He was arrested by the Nazis. He was also executed by them. And he wrote many of his books and memoirs in very turbulent and very fearful times. One of the things he wrote was about living in that type of a time. And he said, holy ground is the stable place of clarity and confidence in a turbulent human landscape of shifting values, crumbling hopes, frayed trusts, uncertain commitments. Holy ground is a place of life-giving rootedness in something larger than our own lives, something deep enough and enduring enough to keep us anchored and oriented in the storm. Despite the fear and the turmoil, the social change and the discord, I believe that's going to be coming in our lives when we live into a new reality. We always have that reminder that no matter where we go in life, anywhere in this life, we do not walk alone. We stand on this holy ground that anchors us in our faith. Many years ago, I read an interesting article, and it was these remarkable pictures of these very, very tall pine trees, and they all were in a line in a row, and one after another, and it was along the mile after mile of coastline in the northern Pacific. The trees were very mature, they were healthy, they weathered the harsh winters and the storms and the winds, and yet they still stood strong. And people looked at these trees and they studied them, and someone wondered, well, I wonder how they could survive such harsh winters and such significant winds. And what they found was that these trees had a remarkably complex root system, where each tree not only had its individual root, but each tree's root also grew toward and interconnected with the roots of the other trees. And so there was this sense of, it was complex, but no tree stood alone. All the trees were held in place because they were holding each other in place, and their roots connected in such a way that it was this long band that held them firm. And so now, no matter what the winds were, no matter what the winter came, they were able to survive, but also to thrive, because the roots were together and held them firm. I think that's a really beautiful and vivid example of Christian community. How we can live, we can survive the winds and the storms and the turmoil of our time, that we each, as on our own, need to nourish and to deepen and strengthen our roots of our faith through prayer and through study and through worship. But we also need to remember that we are in this together. And now more than any other time, the church has a message of hope and of peace, of calm, and none of us are alone. And we need to remind each other of that. We are on holy ground. We walk in the very presence of Jesus. But he is within each one of us, and he is among us. And we have the responsibility and we have the blessing of reminding each other of that, and others outside the church, that the risen Christ is walking among us. No one is alone. We are here for one another. And the roots that connect us are deep. They go deep. And they are firm. And they will hold us together. Marcus Borg, who was one of my favorite theologians of this time, writes this: just as Jesus' life-giving love made God known, our love for one another also makes God known. Christian love is the ongoing revelation of God. Let me repeat that. Christian love is the ongoing revelation of God. God's love, the love of God is, and it arrives at its intended goal only when those who have received it live in love for one another and pass it along. My friends, we're not meant to go this life alone, and we are not alone. We were meant to live in union with God as our Creator and with one another. And I think that's why Jesus said the two greatest commandments were to love God and to love one another. They go hand in hand, they go together. And we are at our best, our healthiest, our wholeness of life when we follow that two ways of living. That we're created to live in God's love. And we are created to live out of God's love, sharing that love with one another and care of the world. We are the ongoing revelation of God in this world. So, wherever you are, wherever you go, or preferably not go this week, always remember you are on holy ground. We are held together by the risen Christ. We are rooted deep in a love that endures and holds us dear to one another. And we keep passing that love and care on to others. For that is the way of love and life in the risen Jesus. And it is seen and known as we bless others. May you go in God's peace.